Hey friends, welcome back to What the OTPF. I'm Allie. I'm a geriatric occupational therapist and owner of the Good Life Occupational Therapy. This is your digestible guide to knowing what the heck OTs do and breaking down our practice framework. I hope it has been useful for you thus far, and we still have a lot more to go, so let's jump in. Today we are talking about performance skills, which is our last piece of our domain umbrella. I can't believe I feel like I need one of those remotes, any iCarly people where Sam just like, yay, and it applauds. Yeah, no, you might be too young for that or too old for that. I don't know. Maybe that makes me old. I'm not really sure. Anyway, maybe I'll get one someday. Let's get started, shall we? Performance skills, according to the OTPF. And like always, I love definitions, so I'm going to read it to you. Observable, goal-directed actions that result in a client's quality of performing desired occupations. What does that mean? Great question. I'm glad you asked. That basically means that there is a purpose and a goal-oriented, go with me, task that this person is trying to accomplish, and that all the skills that go towards that task are broken down in this category. That is a lot of things. There's an exhaustive list. I will not be reading them all to you. If you want to do that, I encourage you to go check it out because as we talk about in a minute, it's important. So, these are broken down into motor, process, and social interaction. First, we're going to talk about motor, and those involve using objects, tools, utensils, clothing, making sure we're dealing with the positioning of your body, obtaining the objects, holding them, and sustaining it throughout the whole entire performance. That's a lot. If someone is new to picking up utensils again, or ever, children, older adults. I refer to older adults a lot, which I'm sure you've gathered because that's what I do. But it's important that the client can not only obtain the utensil, then use the utensil correctly, manipulate it, and then sustain it throughout the entire dinner, lunch, whatever they're doing at the moment. We follow, yes. Process skills involve sustaining the performance, applying the knowledge, organizing timing and space of the object, and adapting the performance. So now not only are you able to process that you're supposed to hold all of these things during the same time, but that you are now putting knowledge towards what you know and organizing all the things you need and then adapting as it changes. So that's a lot of thinking. And yes, they're intertwined. Yes, they're very related, but that's kind of the point, that we can break them all down and still be really intertwined in a task. We do a lot of things without realizing we do a lot of things. You know what I mean? And finally, the last one is social interaction skills. These are initiating and terminating social interactions, but then also producing them, physically supporting them with eye contact and facing the person, being able to shape the content that you're talking about, as well as maintain a flow. You're not just like, oh, we're not talking about dogs anymore? Cool, I'm out. Like, well, that's very simple, but you know what I mean. And then verbally supporting the conversation and adapting as it would. So people that have a hard time keeping up with a flow of conversation, if you're in my family, we are like jumping from one topic to the next, we're really loud. So sometimes you could be like, I still had something to say about this topic that we talked about 17 minutes ago, and now you guys have talked about 400 things since then. That is all part of the social interaction and processing how we're flowing through that. So they're very connected. If, like I said earlier, if I read you the exhaustive list of all of these, you'd be like, Allie, I'm piecing out of this video. I've had enough. That's too long. Please stop. So I'm not going to do that. But what I want to say to you is, this is for me personally, as I was walking through these examples, as a clinician, I have found myself many times walking out of a session being like, did I even help this person to, like, did we do anything productive? Like, how am I going to write my notes for this? And if you're my boss, don't yell at me. But like, it's true. I think we all have walked out of a session being like, I don't know if that was helpful at all. But the thing is when you really dig back into these performance skills and breaking down tasks, some of the best connections I've made with people and progress we've made on therapy for physical tasks have come from the day that I'm like, did we do anything productive today? Yes. Yes, you did. And it's very important. I can't tell you how many times patients have come back to me on the day, like a few days later or the next session I had with them and said, thank you for this last session we had. It was one of my favorite times to get to communicate their wants. Or, you know, a patient with dementia who may have a problem communicating, like, we're not rushing them. We're not pulling answers out of them. We're not asking them 50 questions. We're just listening and letting their communication be what it is and trying to guide the conversation in a way that their communication level can meet. That's not saying everybody that has dementia, but it's saying that the interaction was meaningful to them because you're letting them communicate in a way that is still building not only rapport with them, but then building towards the goals we're trying to complete. They trust you more. They know you listen to them. They know that you do what you say and that you don't rush them into anything. And so I encourage you, if you ever feel like that in a session, go back and look at this. Remind yourself that you are constantly evaluating so many things that we don't give ourselves credit for as OTs. We are trained to do this, but we don't remember that we're doing it because we're so good at it. So I hope that encourages you, that you are making a difference. This section of performance skills is so, so important, and that I love this part. I love getting to talk to people. I love relating to people, and I hope that shows you what we do. In our next session, we're going to start talking about the other side of its domain and process. So we'll be talking about process. That breaks down furthermore into evaluations, interventions, and outcomes. And I will see you there for that.